Hello, Coach Red here, www.coachred1.com. I'm here with Gwen, and today's topic is going to be going gluten-free.
So glad to be here.
And I just wanted to tell a little bit about my story and why Gwen's plight of gluten-free lifestyle appealed to me and how I feel that we connect is that my daughter had eczema growing up, and she also had behavioral issues. And I was at my wit's end with regards to her behavioral issues. And that started my journey as a life coach specializing in parenting because I felt like there had to be another way to communicate with this child. There had to be another way to connect with this child. She cried a lot. Her skin was very itchy. All kinds of things bothered her. And I just didn't understand why. And it led me on a journey of discovery as a parent and discovering how my child ticks. So today, as a life coach, I focus on parenting because I feel like there is just a world of how we can help them in so many different ways. And so one of the ways is through changing diet. And that's where Gwen comes in. So Gwen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started your journey and why?
Well, I started my journey a little bit different. For me, it was personal health issues. I had been a normal active in my 30s, mother of three, uh, just busy working, taking care of the kids, and all of a sudden, I was suddenly hit with debilitating fatigue and all over muscle soreness. And went to doctor after doctor. They couldn't find anything wrong. Finally, they slapped me with a fibromyalgia diagnosis. I tried the medications, they weren't helping. It got to the point where I couldn't work anymore. And so I just remember driving home from the last doctor who told me, well, maybe just try some counseling and that'll help you. And I was in tears because they just weren't listening. And I was talking to my sister on the phone who happens to be celiac. Now they tested me, I'm not celiac. So they'd never suggested changing my diet. But my sister said, well, try going gluten-free just to see. Nothing to lose. I did. Wouldn't you know it, within a month, I was out of bed again. I was walking again. Like, it literally changed my life. And so having gone through that journey, I have now seen how gluten-free, because since I cook gluten-free, I just do for the family. When we did that, cleared up my daughter's acne, helped with, we had behavioral issues too with a teenager where they were trying to say she was bipolar. After going gluten-free, that went away. She didn't need the medicines anymore. So it has literally changed my family's life. That's how I started on this journey.
Okay, and that brings me to another population of people that I coach, which is families of aging parents. You would be surprised how changing the diet of an aging parent can change their personality, can change the way that they react to people. We're all the same, no matter how old we are. If we're talking about children, we're talking about aging people, we're talking about middle-aged people like me, young women like yourself. It's
Right.
all it diet, you are what you eat. Remember that saying? You
Absolutely.
are what you eat. And it doesn't define you as a person. And I want to speak to one thing that you said, and not as a judgment at all, but you said my sister-in-law or sister is,
Sister.
yeah, is celiac. And it's interesting because she's not celiac. She's your sister.
She
She's
had
a human being. She's a woman, and she has celiac. And that's something that I talk about as a coach. It's that the things that happen to us or the things that are in our life don't define us unless we choose to define us.
Right.
And it's very empowering for your sister and for yourself to have chosen to change the diet because that's the control that you had. You didn't have control of the reaction of your body, all the pain that you had. That was something that happened maybe due to stress. And that's probably why they recommended therapy. But I don't know. However it happened. But what you had control of was how it was going to be in your life for the rest of your life. And you chose a diet change. I want to take one moment to say that we are not doctors. We are not registered dietitians. We are coaches who talk about our experience and help you through our experience and through our trial and error try to do the same thing. You must consult a doctor. I do not know if you have celiac disease based on what you tell me. I am not a doctor. I do not know if you have eczema or psoriasis or fibromyalgia or any of the other things. If your doctor says you need to be on medication, you need to be on medication. And I have zero say in that, and Gwen has zero say in that. We are just talking about how food affects us as human beings and how we can take control of our lives and make these changes, even though they're hard sometimes. Do you want to talk about that? Well, I mean, it wasn't like, bam, I stopped eating pasta and now I'm good.
No, and I'm very glad you bring up the point, because I absolutely am not. I didn't go to school for this. I went to school for other things, but I do have the life experience. I've been eating this way now for 10 years, and that's why I set up this class, because I remember distinctly sitting in the aisle of the grocery store, looking at all the foods that I'd been eating for the last 30 something years of my life, and you can't eat them. They've got hidden gluten. They have just that tiny little bit of, but that's enough, and just being overwhelmed and crying in the grocery aisle. And I thought, now that I'm further along in my journey, I can help other people not have to go through that. If I had just had somebody who could say, hey, start here, here's a menu for the first week while you're learning this information. So I didn't have to do all the research. I didn't have to accidentally get gluten because I bought a sauce that had a small amount of gluten in it that I didn't realize. I can't tell you the number of times that happened to me. So with this course, I'm hoping to prevent that for you, or the people who are out there
Right.
taking the course. So,
Right. You, the listeners of this video.
yes, the listeners.
Exactly. Exactly. And I remember crying too. I guess as mothers, we take things so personally. I mean, it was you, like it was happening to you. And I have my own digestive issues, which I never let it define me. I eat a vegan diet and I eat it because my stomach rebels against other foods. And I listen to my body. That's such a key. I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. I don't know if anybody has read it, and now I've permanently put it out there in my video.
I'll have to look into it.
It's very scientific. I'm a geek, I admit it, and I like science. I have a physical therapy background. I like science. And this book talks about how the body holds on to so many things and how we can take control and understand ways of changing it. And so this just kind of triggered my thought when you were saying that you were like crying in the grocery store, like, how do I make this change? It's not easy. And sometimes you need someone, an accountability partner or a coach or someone or an advocate. You can call us whatever you want. Someone who can just walk you through the steps. Of course, with the guidance of your doctor and with the approval of your doctor or registered dietitian. Like sometimes you just want somebody to say, I did this too. I cried on the floor. I had abdominal cramps for days. I had spasms in my stomach for days because I ate the wrong thing. I'm going to tell a story about I have an issue with dairy. And one of my biggest things was I ate a Reese's peanut butter cup. And this is not to bash them because it's one of my favorite things in the world.
Delicious, but
It's delicious. I had cramps. I had things coming out of every orifice that I have. I had, like, I felt like a gremlin was in my stomach doing this. My body rejects dairy. Like, what am I doing? But I wanted that peanut butter cup so badly. And we've all been there and we've all made these poor choices for our bodies. And sometimes you just need somebody to say, oh my God, I have been there and I'm going to help you walk through your journey to make the changes and not make the mistakes of eating that peanut butter cup. Because who would have thunk it had? I mean, I knew it had dairy, but who would have thunk it had gluten in it? But it does, and I know
Right.
it does. So if you're eating a gluten-free diet, then that is a no-go for you. Um,
Right.
so it's really nice to have somebody to walk alongside that journey with you. Check out the show notes and the links below.
Have a link that you go to go ahead and sign up for the initial course. And then from there, we're having it set up in a Facebook group. That way I can post new lessons a couple a week. And then we will also have opportunity for live chats. That way, if anybody has questions as they're going through this process, you're not alone. You know, I'm there with you to answer any questions you might have. That way you're not overwhelmed like I was. That's the entire point of my course, is to help you go gluten-free without overwhelm.
I also have a group on Facebook called Become a Connected Parent. Become connected to yourself, become connected to your children. And I thank you so much, Gwen, for this opportunity. And I look forward to having more conversations with you where we
Absolutely.
can include question and answers from guests and all kinds of fun stuff.
Absolutely. I love how our topics go together so well. I wish I had somebody like you when I was going through my journey initially. So thank you so much as well.
You're welcome. All right, everybody, we will talk soon.